This is the Rolling with Tay podcast. I'm your host, Tasia, aka Tay, and this is episode 15. On this episode, my guest is Wendy. I met Wendy last year, 2020, at a Black Girls Do Bike event with Major Taylor, another cycling organization. And we actually have the same bike. and we're from the Bronx, and we have the same cycling cap. So, I mean, damn, we just have to be friends. Like, we've done many rides together. We've done our first century together. So, yeah. But what really intrigues me about Wendy is not only does she cycle, not only does she run, not only does she swim, but she's a triathlon, or a triathlete, I should say. And she's done triathlons. So I just want to talk to her about her journey with running, cycling, and the triathlons. So thank you, Wendy. Welcome to my podcast.
Thank you, Tasia, for having me. I have to remind you on how the specific way we met. It was after the Major Taylor ride, and you kind of came up to me and you were like, "Nice bike," and I was like, "Oh, thanks," without noticing that we had the same bike.
Hey!
So it was just like, yeah, it was like, yeah, and it was just a plus to find out how close we lived to each other. Yeah, and then we could enjoy this interest together.
You're absolutely right. You're right, because I don't think I spoke to you during
during the ride.
Yeah, I did notice you afterwards, and I noticed your cap too, because I was like, I have the same cap.
Oh yeah, so we have Bronx cycling caps, which are very difficult to find.
Right.
So people are always asking, where did you get these caps from? Hopefully now that cycling is I guess more popular, and then we have cycling groups all over. Hopefully we'll get more Bronx caps so we can purchase.
Right, that's right. Or what we can do is start making these Bronx cycling caps.
We have talked about that. Maybe we should.
Yes, it's a hot commodity. Listen, we'll talk about that after this. You know, that's business. But yes, right. That's right.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So we're just going to jump right into it. What started you on your running journey?
So my running journey started in college. So I went to college upstate, SUNY Cortland, and that school is predominantly a lot of people from Long Island, a lot of people that are studying to be teachers, a lot of physical education teachers. So I was just surrounded by athletes, people that have been in sports their whole life. And I'm the complete opposite. I never did any sports growing up. Like I had rollerblades and I had a bike growing up, but I was actually overweight as a kid. So I hated gym. So I get to the school and I'm the oddball, the one that's not into sport, not doing any type of physical activity. I was actually studying French. So I was a nerd reading. And I started to go to the gym, and not knowing how to use the machines, the easiest thing is to get on the treadmill. Like, I'm walking and I'll try to go a little faster. So that's how it all started. Just going to the gym and exposing myself to the different machines in the gym. And then I spent some time outside of New York City. I lived in New Mexico for some time, and just continue to run in the gym. And when I came back home, a friend introduced me to one of her friends who was a captain for Harlem Run, a running crew in Harlem. And they introduced me to running in the street. I was always very nervous about running outside, due to safety, and you don't see people running in the Bronx, right? So slowly it got to like I would just go to Harlem and run. I would only run in Harlem. And then as time gone by, I was like, well, like why do I have to travel to another
Mm-hmm.
borough to enjoy running?
Mm-hmm.
So after a while, I just started doing it in the Bronx by myself. Um, and ignoring the comments. You always get, the cat calls and people kind of like
Mm-hmm.
wondering, like, what are you doing? Um, but yeah, that's how it all started. And I think I was probably running with Harlem Run for about a year before I started racing. I didn't understand the concept of having to pay to run in my own city. It's like, why do I have to pay for this? But with time, it was kind of like, you're paying for the safety. They closed the course. NYPD is
Mm-hmm.
there. You're paying for the camaraderie. You're being with other runners. So in the end of 2016, I did the Bronx 10 miler, which, interesting enough, it passes my old neighborhood where I grew up because it goes
Mm-hmm.
down Grand Concourse. It starts near the Yankee Stadium, like 167th area. You go down the Grand Concourse, and then it comes towards Mashulu, which I currently live on Mashulu Parkway.
Mm-hmm.
And then you loop around and you go back on Grand Concourse, and it finishes in the Yankee Stadium. Um, and I'm from 181st, so my mom could just walk up the block and cheer me on. Um,
Nice.
so I went from not racing to doing my first race, a 10 miler. People were like, "You're crazy." But yeah, and then in 2018, I did. Actually, I'm sorry, that was 2016 that I did that first race, October of 2016. 2017. So in order for you to qualify for the marathon, you have to either like do charity, um, or they have a program called the 9+1.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that in 2017. So whatever year you want to run the marathon, the year before you have to do the program. So that's 9 races and volunteering, one of their programs. So I did that in 2017, and I was able to run the marathon in 2018.
The New York City Marathon?
Yes, the New York City Marathon. Yep.
All right, hold on. So, what made you transition from like just running with the group to, all right, now I want to race and I want to participate in these marathons?
So racing, it's like the goal. Like it kind of makes you more focused. You're like, now I need a training plan. And now I'm going out and running with people that have the same goal. So I think it helps me stay focused.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, now I have to go out and run because I have this race that I'm going to do and I'm committed to. So that's what got me into racing. And it's really cool to be out there running with people and having a good time. And at the end, like, wow, I just look what I accomplished. And it's not just the day of the race. Like that's a great accomplishment, but also what I had to do to lead up to that day, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of running, but also self-care, right? What are you doing aside from running? Whether it's lifting weights, doing yoga, um, foam rolling, because you don't have to give yourself massages and making sure you're healing properly. And even just what are you eating? How are you sleeping? How much water are you consuming? It's just so much entailed into the training plan.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Wow. I feel you on that. I feel you because when we did our century,
Hmm.
we had to prepare for it. So we couldn't just say, all right, we're going to do this 100 miles.
Right.
No, we had to, okay, we followed the plan. I think it
Hmm.
was every week or every other weekend we went out and did a number of miles leading up to
Yeah.
the century.
Yeah, I think every weekend we were going out there and yeah, increasing the mileage. Hmm.
Okay. So then how was running in the New York City Marathon? Now, I told you before, I've worked the New York City Marathon
Hmm.
like 3 years in a row at the start point, and I get excited. I never run
Hmm.
a marathon a day in my life, but for
Yeah,
me, I'm
yeah.
excited. Like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. I'm like, yeah, I want to do this one day. in the back of my mind. But
Yeah.
then I realized, like, Tasia, no, you don't. Like, no, I don't think you do. But
You
I'm
could
just so
do it.
excited. I'm just so excited. So, how is it in it? Because like I said, I'm only at the start of the
Mm-hmm.
race, and like I watch a little bit from the office that we're in, like on TV, but
Mm-hmm.
like to actually be in it.
Yeah. Yeah, it is very exciting, but it's also very nerve-wracking. Because you have to get up really early, no matter what time you're starting. So everybody, depending on how fast you are,
Mm-hmm.
determines, when you start the race. So I'm not a fast runner. Like the fastest I do is 10. Like my average 10 miles per hour, 10 minute per mile.
Mm-hmm.
My average is 11, 12. Yeah, I like to enjoy my runs. So I didn't start, I want to say, till 11:30. But I
Oh,
still
okay.
needed to leave really early to catch the bus at 42nd Street to get
Mm-hmm.
to Staten Island, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's very nerve-wracking, making sure that you're getting on the bus on time. You have to get to your corral on time, which is where you start.
Mm-hmm.
It's cold in the morning, so you have to prepare not only for like your what you're wearing for your commute, but also during your run. Like, how
Mm-hmm.
am I gonna feel? Like, do I have layers? So you're just thinking about so much stuff. We say nothing new on race day, right? So that includes what you eat.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm t- they I think they have like bagels and stuff in
Yeah.
there. Um, they call it the village,
Mm-hmm.
but thinking about all that, like bringing that stuff with me. And they have donation bins, so you can donate the stuff that you're not gonna take with you. So it's just so much to think about. So it's just like, oh, it's not just like just leaving out my house and I'm going out for a run, right? Um, but it is very exciting to be out there where everybody, seeing your friends, like, oh, we finally made it, we're finally here, because training is so hard. Your life revolves around training, especially in the summer, because that's when you start training. Um, and then it's so, it gets so hot here,
Mm-hmm.
so you have to wake up really early to get your runs in. So like most runners, we do our long runs on Sundays. Um, but you're already preparing Friday night. Like, it's like, am I eating properly? Am I hydrating? Like, I would buy coconut water Friday nights, and start hydrating for my long runs. And then you're waking up at like 5, 6 a.m., depending on how long your run is, because you don't want to be out there at noon, 1 o'clock when the sun is peaking, right? So yeah, it is a lot, but I think anybody can run the New York City Marathon.
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't have to run the whole time. Like, you could walk it. I've met somebody that walks it,
Mm.
during the volunteer program that I did.
Mm-hmm.
Her and her friend, they walked the whole thing, and they've done it several times. So, everybody's goal is different. Um, so as long as you finish it, you'll be good. Some people finish it and the course is already closed.
Mm-hmm.
Technically, like, the streets start opening
Yeah.
and they're still out there. But you finished, you crossed that finish line, you're good.
See, you give me hope there. I can walk it. What?
But you still have to train, 26.1 miles, 26.2 miles. Yeah. Yep, yep.
Okay. All right. There's hope for me. There's hope. I can.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, 20. When is it? 2022, 2023, 2023. Maybe.
2023.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll hold you accountable. And when I ran it, there was this guy who had a poster of himself. Like, he was a really big guy, just showing like his progress. Like, he had lost
Mm.
so much weight. So yeah, there's all types of people out there doing it. So it's great.
Oh, that's dope.
Hmm.
That is. All right. So after you completed the marathon, did you wear your medal for the whole week, or just that day? Like after, like I want to know. Like,
Well, after that, it took me 5 hours and 20 more minutes to finish that. So it was nighttime when I finished. Like the sun was setting, I think. So there was not much after. Like some people do after parties and all that. I'm like, I can barely walk. I am going home. I was like crawling into my friend's car. So yeah, I had it on, but I was going home. But the next day, like, it's like a whole big party again for runners. You go out there and you could get your medal engraved. Um,
Wow.
and then they have like the running stores have like free massages for you. They're giving out shoelaces and water bottles and all this stuff. Like it's a whole big celebration. So yeah, definitely out there with your medal on. I want to say I wore it at work
Mm-hmm.
the next day. Um, but yeah, I don't know about the whole week.
Wow.
I think it's definitely deserving. If people want to run it for the whole week, yes, 26.2 miles is a lot. You should definitely flaunt it. Um, but yeah,
All right, that's cool. Yeah, congrats on that. That's a huge
thank you.
accomplishment. I think um anything that pushes you, like we spoke about
Mm-hmm.
earlier, is a huge accomplishment. So that 5 miles, that 10 miles,
Mm-hmm.
those 3 miles, whatever it is a
Right,
huge accomplishment, especially if you've never done it before. So
right, right.
I think that's big. I did want to ask you a question. So you said that most of your long runs are on Sundays. So is that like to mimic, um, like sort of like race day, like how you prepare? Like why would it be Sundays rather than Saturdays so you can have a day to rest?
I'm not, I'm not really sure why we pick Sundays.
Hmm,
Um, but yes, the long runs do mimic race day.
gotcha.
So like I said, nothing new on race day. So you're trying on different clothes. Like, how do I like these pants?
Mm-hmm.
Can I fit a nutrition bar in them, right? Um, Sports bra for ladies. Athletic socks, the sneakers. Um, so yeah, it is like rehearsal.
Gotcha.
And then you kind of practice on your nutrition while running as well as your hydration. If you're going to be using anything, yeah,
Mm,
and getting
gotcha.
tips from other people. What do they use? And then you can try it next time and see if it works for you.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Hmm.
All right. So what came after, right? So you run. Now,
Hmm.
cycling or swimming?
So it was sort of swimming because I took swimming lessons.
Hmm.
So I took them briefly when I was a kid. But I still didn't know how to swim. And then I moved back to New York City and I signed up for the New York City Park and Recreation swimming lesson
Hmm.
lottery. I want to say that was around 2013.
Hmm.
Um, so I still wasn't, I don't think I was, I still wasn't running out in the streets at the time.
Hmm.
I was running on the treadmill.
Okay.
So running was still a big part of my life. So then after that, so swimming was in there, but I wasn't consistent because
Hmm.
like having access to a pool in New York City is hard.
Yeah.
Um, but it was something that I definitely wanted to perfect. So it was swimming and then biking.
And then biking. Okay.
Hmm.
So this wasn't. It's funny how it worked because now you do triathlons.
Hmm.
So you run, you swim. Wait. So how's the order? So is
So
it
in a triathlon, you swim first,
okay?
then you bike, and then you run.
And
And that's actually the order of my preference.
oh,
Like,
really?
well, actually, the opposite of my preference. So swimming is my weaker sport, then is biking, and then is running. Running is my best, I would think. Or maybe the sport that I feel more comfortable with.
Got you. So, what made you take the leap to that? Like, okay, now I want to do triathlons.
So it kind of was a mistake. Um, so I wanted to take lessons again, because I still didn't feel comfortable swimming. Like I still would say I don't know how to swim even after taking lessons. So one of my good running friends suggested I join or use her coach to get swimming lessons. And her coach has a triathlon team. So, I'm taking swimming lessons with him, and he's kind of like putting it in my ear, like, you're already a runner. Now you already know how to swim. You should just do a triathlon. So in the spring of 2019, I started learning how to swim. And in the summer of that year, I did 2 triathlons.
What?
So it's like you could do it, and I'm like, I don't know. And then a few months in, I'm like, I could do this.
That's right. That's how you go about it.
Right, right. So yeah. And I
So,
was like, as a kid, I had a bike.
mhm.
Um, but I don't remember biking as like a teenager.
Yeah.
So it was really as a kid. But then I moved to New Mexico in like 2012, and I didn't have my license back then. So I think that helped because I was biking. I was using my bike to commute.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't like biking was new to me. Like I
Yeah.
did bike a lot as an adult. Hmm.
So, all right, you did 2 triathlons, 2020. Were those
2019.
2019? So,
Hmm.
were those local? Did you have to travel for those?
I did have to travel. So they were sprint triathlons, which they're the shorter distance. The first one I did was the New York City, the New Jersey um girls triathlon. So it's called Jersey Girl Triathlon.
Mm-hmm.
And where is that? It's a few hours away.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely had to travel to get to that. And then the second one, so actually both of them were in August. The first one was August, the beginning of August, like the first week, and then the other one was like that last week of August of 2019, and the other one was in
Mm-hmm.
Tobay. It was in Long Island.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. So not local, but not so
Yeah.
far. Just a few hours. Hmm.
And I can imagine in August it being blazing.
See, but you see, like how running, I'm telling you that you have to start early. With triathlons, it's even earlier. Like you can have like a 3 o'clock wake up for a triathlon.
What time do y'all start?
We start at like 6 a.m.
Okay.
Or like 7, but like the having to get there, you have to prep. Um, they have a transition area, so you have an area where you have all your stuff. You have your
Mm-hmm.
bike, you have your stuff for your running, you have your stuff for your swimming. So having to get all that ready takes time. So yeah, you have a really early start. Like usually the sun is rising and you're like, okay, we're ready.
Do
Hmm.
all right. So, are you out there with the team? Are you solo? Is it like I'm gonna tag you in type deal?
So I ended up joining. I was sort of already part of the triathlon team, remember? Because I was taking swimming lessons. Even though
Mm-hmm.
the original plan was to just take swimming lessons, I ended up joining it officially as a triathlon. So yeah, my teammates were out there, and I still didn't drive then.
Mm-hmm.
So part of my team, they're very supportive, not only to cheer, but also to get me to training and to get me to
Mm.
race day.
Mm.
Um, giving me tips on how to take care of my bike, what swimwear to get. Um, we wear swimsuits that are similar to what surfers wear.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, sometimes people help you get in it because it's so tight.
Wow.
Um, so yeah, definitely. I'm not wasn't there alone for neither
Got
one of
you.
them. Had a lot of support. Hmm.
Got you. Got you. Okay. All right. Now, if I learn how to swim, not if, I am going to learn how to swim. I'm going to hit you up. I'm going to hit Lisa up. I'm going to hit Simone up.
Hmm.
All the other people that do triathlons, ask y'all for tips.
Yes, I'll be here. It's a great accomplishment. Like, as we were talking about earlier, just like setting goals and doing it. It's just like it's amazing. And it's the whole process. It's not just the day of the event, of the main event. It's
Mm-hmm.
like what led to that. Like
Yeah.
what sacrifices did you have to make to get there?
Mm-hmm.
And it feels great.
Yeah, I bet. Like any one of my friends, he does the obstacle courses. Actually, I interviewed him, and that's his thing.
Hmm.
And he's like, I'm trying to get you out there, and I
Mm-hmm. Mm.
and I'm like, I don't know, but
Right,
I
right.
told him next year I'm going to. That's one of my goals is to complete an obstacle course. I told him to
Okay.
pick an easy one. Don't try to put me out there with Don't be throwing me to the wolves.
Right, right, right. No, but I'm sure, like, whatever you decide to do, then you have, like, what do I need to do to prepare for it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. He will. He will
Mm-hmm.
be calling me like, listen, we need to do this, we need to do that, and
Mm-hmm.
of course, I'll be looking for tips online and asking other people who have done these obstacle courses. So
Mm-hmm.
yes, absolutely right. That process of preparing to get there, I think, and I think you said it earlier, it's just as exciting as completing it.
Right.
Like I've trained, I've
Mm-hmm.
sacrificed sleep, hanging out with
Yep.
friends, you
Mm-hmm.
know. But it's all worth it at the end, accomplishing a goal
Yep.
that you set forth to
Mm-hmm.
accomplish. So I think that's pretty dope.
Yeah.
Um, so cycling,
Mm-hmm.
the community that I know you from.
Yeah.
Now, what got you into cycling around New York City? Like, what got you into joining Black Girls Do Bike? And because you were already running,
Mm-hmm.
you are, and you had ridden a bike, so biking wasn't new to you. But in New York City, was it new to you?
Yes. In New York City, it was new to me because even when triathlon training, like my triathlon team will go up to Westchester to
Mm-hmm.
train. So yeah, it was definitely new to be out here. Um, and I like swimming is still a little scary for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was like, and then my passion and what I'm mostly involved in is running. So biking was easier
Yeah.
to cross train and do something else. Um, so yeah, just looking for other groups to enjoy that activity with. Um, but I would say you got me into like the city riding. Um, because because you want to ride to the ride. Like, okay, we're doing this ride, okay, and not like I'll take the train, and Tasha's like, no, 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 I'm riding there. Um, so yeah, like getting feeling more comfortable with riding in the street. Like I did some little rides with some groups in Harlem that
Mm-hmm.
kind of teach you how to ride outside. But no, you got me into these traffic, and it's like, why? Why are we here? You're like, this is the bike route. No, it should not be the bike route, Asia. Um, yeah, yeah. Like one time, you don't remember we were on Third Avenue and we see like some I don't know if he was on a motorcycle or on a bike, but he almost got hit by a car right in front of us.
Yeah, I
It's
think
like,
I.
are we about to get into that traffic? Okay.
Oh
going on
gosh.
the side, in between the car that can't move because he's stuck in traffic and the parked car. Tasha's like, we're on a bike, like we could go through. I'm like, okay. I gotta think about it, pause, and then I gotta follow you because I don't know where I'm going.
Listen, we just gotta go right into it. You know, we'll be
Hmm.
good. We will be good. Oh man, yeah. I don't know. I think with like the street riding,
Hmm.
I really focus on, what's in front of me.
Hmm.
I'm looking at the cars. I'm looking at the people. I'm trying to be more aware because there's
Hmm.
no real distraction. Like with
Hmm.
driving, I'm aware.
Hmm.
I'm aware driving because anything, anybody can just dart across the street. A
Hmm.
car can run a stop sign, a red light, anything.
Right,
But
right.
there's more distraction because I can pick up my phone. I can
Hmm.
just not doze off, but like
Zone out.
zone out for a minute at the
Hmm.
light. But with cycling, I'm not doing that. I'm
Hmm.
looking, trying not to get hit, trying not to
Right.
hit someone, you know, and just it's like my senses, like, okay,
Hmm.
can I see that bus coming? I'm gonna wait right here.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
I'm not gonna lie, I live on the edge a little bit, like a little bit, live on the edge a little bit,
Hmm.
in the street because you're right. I am on a bike, so we could get more places. We could like, all right, cool. Well, they ain't
Hmm.
moving. Let's go.
Right, right. Like while they're stuck in traffic, we out.
Right? I'm like, I could have drove. Let's not,
Hmm.
no, wait for this traffic.
Right.
Oh gosh.
Well, yesterday I rode to Brooklyn.
Yeah,
Um,
you were telling me.
and the first time I rode to Brooklyn was with you. So I have to put this out there. So the first time I rode to Brooklyn, Tasia had me. We rode from home. We live in the Bronx to a ride in Harlem, right? So to
Mm-hmm.
most people, that would have been a ride already from the Bronx to Harlem. We rode in Harlem to celebrate Juneteenth, and then we rode from Harlem to Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Um, and I guess I wasn't paying attention when we got to like the Chinatown area. Like I remember the intro. I've written in Brooklyn, I think into Manhattan in the past.
Yeah.
But not from home to Brooklyn by myself. So I got lost in Chinatown trying to find the Manhattan Bridge. So it was a little. I took a little time to do that. But I made it. I made it to Brooklyn, and I was doing what Tasia would do. I was riding from home to a ride to
Yay!
celebrate Labor Day.
Yay! That's what I'm talking about.
Oh Lord! So
But you,
yeah, crazy stuff.
but but that area is definitely confusing on how to get on the Manhattan Bridge. It is
Yeah,
kind of
the
confusing.
route that they
Yeah.
have is
Yeah.
actually not like you took me on a different route from
Mm-hmm.
what the bike route is. And I like your option more than theirs because it has you going to a little street, and it's
Mm-hmm.
like, why would I go up here? So sometimes it's good to know the streets,
Yeah.
and you can make your own decisions, and as long as you're being safe, cautious.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Like I always say this, cycling has not like I said, make me more aware of
Hmm.
just driving it, but makes me like I know more of the city now because
Hmm.
I cycle. So I'm like, oh, this is over here. Oh, this is over here.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, I know we can go because I rode my bike over here. I know where that is. So I
Hmm.
know more of New York City and the Bronx because of my cycling. Because
Yeah.
I'm on a bike and I'm able to I see more, like I
Hmm.
actually
Hmm.
see more of these locations. Like, oh, I look at the street signs.
Hmm.
Oh, this is oh, we have a street named this in the Bronx?
Right, right.
Like never knew that. Oh, this is over here. I was wondering because people always spoke about this place.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
that's one thing that there's numerous things I credit to cycling, but that's one thing I'm more aware of my city. I know more of my city because of cycling.
Hmm. But you're right. Like when you're cycling, you have to be more aware of your surroundings, right? Due to
Mm-hmm.
safety. So then it forces you to pay attention. Um, like for me, it's also part of a meditation, an
Mm-hmm.
active meditation movement. You're paying attention to what's around you, and then you see the new restaurants that are popping up,
Yeah.
and then you get to see the new bike paths that are popping up, the bike routes.
Yes.
Um, some that are not the best, right? The Bronx needs to work on some things.
We getting
But
there. We getting there.
mhm, yeah.
Okay. Do you have any upcoming goals for like triathlons you want to complete? Any running goals, any cycling goals in the upcoming year or two that you want to accomplish?
So due to COVID, I was supposed to run the New York City Marathon again in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up doing the 9+1 in 2019. But as soon as they gave that option of getting that money back, I was on it. Um, and I think, I don't know, and I've done that already, so I'm kind of like, do I really want to do it again? But I do want to do more things with cycling.
Mm-hmm.
And as you know, I am trying to work on perfect my clipping in
Yeah.
skills. I haven't done the loop that goes to the Como Bridge,
Mm-hmm.
like from into Manhattan and back into the Bronx. So I would love to do that, and maybe do it with my shoes.
Yeah.
I would love to do another century. Um, so yeah, so mostly cycling, and I do want to get better with swimming. I was taking more swimming lessons when the pandemic hit.
Mm-hmm.
So just become a stronger swimmer and a stronger cyclist.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Well, you will accomplish all those goals. Uh, Especially with the clips, you'll get that, and once you get it, you'll be like, man, you'll
Mm-hmm,
be a pro. You'll be a pro. At the Cuomo Circle, that the the loop,
mm-hmm. The loop,
George
mm-hmm.
Washington to
9W,
Cuomo.
right?
Yeah, let me know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure Serena will be down to do it because we
Yeah.
did it unplanned. I was just like, what?
Uh-uh.
But it was
And in
so
the
dope.
fall, it's probably nice because it's
Yo,
not too hot.
yes, it was so dope when we did it. I'm so glad that we did it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and it's something I can check off. So
Mm-hmm.
you'll definitely do that.
Yeah.
And of course you'll crush the swimming. Um any advice you would give to someone looking to get into running, um, cycling, or maybe doing like triathletes? I mean, I keep saying that. Triathlons.
Um, Surround yourself with people that do it, that are supportive. I have my running friend that got me into triathlon. Through her, I got to meet some other people. Having a good support system. Um, when you're not gonna be going out because you have to train. You want people that would be like, oh, that's great that you have this goal.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just set the goal and have baby steps. Like it could be a big goal if you're starting from scratch, but breaking it up into smaller goals and seeing all the progress that you make. Yeah.
I agree. I totally agree. Breaking up the goal, your big goal into smaller goals.
Mm-hmm.
It makes the big, larger goal more attainable. Like, okay, yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and definitely the support system is big as well. Because if everyone's
Mm-hmm.
telling you you're crazy for doing those marathons, like, you might fall back from them. Like, well, you know
Right.
what? No one else is over here is doing it, or people are saying I'm
Mm-hmm.
crazy. I'm crazy. You're
Right.
not.
Right.
You're not crazy. Keep doing it.
Right. And if your goal is to do a 5K, that's 3.1 miles. You start with, walking. I can walk for 2 minutes, run for one. Like really, you could really have your goal that simple. And eventually you'll be running a 5K. And recognizing that your goal doesn't have to look like somebody else's, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
I said, I'm perfectly fine with running a mile in 11 minutes. While there are other people in my running crews that are running 8-minute miles, 9-minute miles. I have no interest in doing that. Right? And it's the same thing with cycling, right? Like people are doing 20 miles per hour.
Yeah.
Like I guess if I'm going downhill and my bike is telling me I have no choice, yes. But if I'm telling my legs to do that, I don't really have an interest in that. Um, so yeah, being okay with whatever goal you have for yourself. Don't let anybody tell you what that goal should be.
Right. That's right. Set your own goals. Go at your own pace.
Right.
Yeah, and you'll get there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being a guest on my podcast. I appreciate it.
Thank you for giving me the space to tell my little story, and hopefully I influence somebody to get out there, get off the couch.
Yeah, you definitely inspired me. Like now I'm like, oh, I could walk a marathon, like the New York City Marathon. I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
gotta train, like you said, but that's an
Yeah.
option.
Yeah.
I will train to run, but I'm saying,
Mm-hmm.
knowing that I can walk part of the way.
Yeah. Yeah, because some people imagine on marathon everybody's running. No, no, not true. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh man. All right. Well, this is episode 15 of Rolling with Tay podcast. I'm your host, Tasia, aka Tay, and thank you for listening.